Say. Whoa, forces white and plain, not a stain. Mike's out of range, they like Dame, the whole game upside down.
Welcome back to another episode of Not So Wide Divide. We are happy to have another guest with us this week, Mr. Rocky Johnson, a.k.a. 3 Mil Rod. Welcome, man. Welcome. Thank you so much for doing this. We are so excited. We've been talking about it for the last, 4 or 5 days. We've been in our little group text message and not know who you are. So I want to give you a quick bio, quick intro. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, the introduction is Rocky Johnson. That's what you know me as. But the world might know me better as 3 Mil Rod. I'm a recording artist. I'm on all digital streaming platforms, venturing out into entrepreneurship, trying to become a businessman, husband, father of 3, and I'm just a young black man trying to make it, man.
And we welcome that, and we empower that, and I hope you would know that if I can help in any way in any of those platforms, and hopefully this is one of them.
Oh yeah, this one.
I think you're gonna help us a little bit more than we're gonna help you at this stage in our endeavor. But I'll give a little 10 seconds about how I know Rocky. So Rocky's mom has worked with me for the last 13 years. She was my first employee.
Yeah. My
first hire ever out the gate, and we worked next door to each other, 2 separate companies, a long time ago. And when I was like, I'm gonna venture out on my own, I spoke with her every day, just nature of the business that we were in and how we did things. And I said, you know what, I don't know if you know. So I just randomly one day called and I said, hey, you want to go to lunch? And I don't know if that scared her or went,
you're trying to take my mom out on the date.
Well, yes, right? Like going. And she's, I guess. I said, just right, look, ground patty, like it's literally half a block up the, yeah, okay. So I was like, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is my ideas. And she's like, I didn't, well, I'm going to get back. And she's like, yep, when you want to do it. And dude, let me tell you, she's been my ride or die since day one. I could not do this without her.
I never heard that story.
Yep. And,
did your mom explain everybody she dates?
Well, you know what else she doesn't explain? I just so happened he drops this his new, I don't know if it's album, I don't know if it's a single, I don't know exactly, I
just call it a project.
Perfect. Yeah. Drops his new project a week or so ago, and I see it on Instagram, and I'm like, wait. So I do a 3-minute, Google search, and I'm like, call it Tyson. She go, what? I'm like, why ain't tell me nothing about Rocky? Like, what's going on? She's like, I thought you knew. I said, how would I know? How would I, She's like, there's a lot of stuff I don't even know till he tells me. I'm like, yes, indeed. Awesome. So tell us the how did it start? How did your music thing start? And give us a start to finish real quick.
See, when you talk about that, I feel it's so cliche. Cause it's like you go back to when you was a child, but that's actually where it started. Like I remember I used to have a radio player with cassettes, like the tapes, and I used to just get her to buy me the blank tapes, and I used to just put them in and just record just all day, nonstop, all the time in my room. So then from there, I just kind of gravitated towards it, and one of my partners, that's my best friend, he moved down here after Katrina. And he had a recording studio in his house, and it's like nothing like this, nothing like what I got now. It's like the little bitty mic that come with the computer with a sock on it. But I never seen that before, like so. Right. And he got
big time.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So he got the recording program and everything, and from there, that was like 5th grade, and just up until now, like that's just where it actually started at. And now I'm here. Doing it myself. I had to invest in myself because starting out with them, it was kind of like pulling your own weight, but we was all trying to do it collectively. But then I got so passionate about it, it's like, bro, I can't really wait on y'all to make my moves because I'm studying the game and I see the moves we missing, the opportunities that's passing us by, and this my passion, bro. Like I can't let this pass me by, so I gotta do it on my own. We still gang and like that. Like I'm gonna hold the fort down for us till I get there, and then if y'all still in that like that, I'd never stop your dreams. You feel me? So I'm just the scapegoat.
So you just pretty much you did what you had to do. You had to make the tough decision to kind of like leapfrog the group of friends to make it, and you're not actually leapfrogging them. You know, it's just like being human, man. Anything you do, you go out and got a certain group that's just not moving as fast as you moving, and not that you don't love them, not that you don't want to bring them with you, but if I do what you doing, I'm gonna be here another 10 years trying to get to where I'm going. So look, just take a little back step. I'm gonna go and venture off on my own, and if guys say the same, hey, I'm gonna come back and pull y'all through the loops. That's big, man.
Yep. And look, that's one of the I guess he's a very successful guy in real estate. Grant Cardone. He's from Louisiana, from Lake Charles. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but he's kind of become a motivational guy. He does some stuff, but that's one of the biggest things he talks about. And no matter what your background is, I mean, this dude from Lake Charles, Louisiana, started in car business, and now he's got a $500 million real estate portfolio. He was on that Undercover Billionaire, that show that's, they drop him off in the middle of a town somewhere, and they got 30 days to create $1 million business. And he did it. With $0, knowing 0 people. Nobody knew who he was. And they've done it with other people, but one of the biggest things he always says is, a lot of people get mad at me. He said, when I had to leave Lake Charles, because I had to leave the people that I loved the most because they wouldn't support me.
Right.
I still loved them, but our conversations got cut real short. We only talked about certain things.
Right.
Because when you tell me, well, what you doing now? How's your work? It's not something I can talk to you about, because you could be like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you should do. He's like, that's the toughest thing in all his conferences, and that's the number one thing he preaches, is that if you want that success and you want that drive and you want something different than the path you're on, there's some tough things that you're going to have to decide. And most of them is you're going to have to not necessarily cut ties with that family or cut ties with your friends or whoever it is, but you're going to have to distance those conversations. You're going to have to distance those relationships, because it's sad, but unfortunately, man, there's so many loved ones that hold you down, that don't support you.
And we got to look at that different too, because of the simple fact that depending if they before us, after us, or actually growing up in the same time as us, it's so many protection things, you know. It's just the fear of what you might not be from people that's older than you. It's the fear of, man, you don't have everything that you need to be successful from the people that's on the same level as you. And then people under you, that's just straight love. Like, hey man, you who I look up to. So if you leave and go somewhere or change your routine, it's something that I'm gonna lose too. So it's a little selfishness with everybody and a little need, but it's definitely what you said.
Right, and I think some of it too, just trying to save your loved ones from that hurt of failure, right? Where it's not necessarily trying to hold you back or stop you from pursuing your dreams, just,
But it does.
I know that's the outcome.
But that's not what. But that's not their intention.
I get it.
It's to protect and to stop you from taking that leap, because once you take that leap, you might fall, and if you fail, it's going to hurt. And I'm trying to save you from that hurt. And so I don't think it's a malicious thing.
I agree 100%.
But the saying is, if you love someone, let them go. So if you do love me, then let me go do that.
Yep.
Right.
You feel me?
And if it's true
but
love,
that's a saying.
Yeah.
But that's a saying.
But I tell you, it's
the truth too, though.
It's the truth.
I mean, sometimes it is, but it depends on how that person hold on to you. Like, you're not gonna tell your daughter or your son, if they love you, let you go, you're gonna come back, right?
I mean, I would talk to them and try to create that understanding.
I understand.
That's a big word.
I understand.
And that's what a lot of people don't have when it comes to that, the understanding.
Right, but is it a feeling or is it a word?
Understanding?
No. So we got here for the word love, though. If you love me, you'll let me go.
Right.
Is it a feeling or is it a word? A lot of things we do is easier for us to say, but it's hard for us to actually put in action. So the understanding to what you were saying earlier, it comes from different verses, you know? You just can't take it for face value.
Right.
Yeah, but in this instance, I mean, you're talking about unconditional love, right? You're talking about your kids. If you truly love your kids and you've done the right things, in the aspect that he's talking about, if you love them, you got to let that fly, Yeah. The mama pushes the baby bird out the nest. And it's a hard truth, but bro, it's the truth. Let that baby stay in the nest the whole time. Guess what's going to happen? It ain't going to have a successful life. You know,
I just try to tell mine that we're that safety net.
Right.
And
yeah,
go out and try. If you fail, we here.
It's a different. I mean, like you say, it's gonna come from different aspects. Like we say, some of us come from 2-parent homes, some of us come from 1-parent homes. It's just different views of life, and it's a melting pot. So, I mean,
that's it.
But it is a state of mind too, right? Because regardless of your background, at some point, as a grown person, right, male, female, black or white, at when you're ready to make them steps, or you're ready to make changes in your life.
Yeah,
it's your it has to come down to where you at and what you willing to do to get your goal. Right. Especially in success. If you were, and look, I'll use you as an example on this too, Rocky. Like, you a young family man. How old are you?
25.
25. How many kids you got?
3.
I promise you, 3 years ago, somebody said, Rocky, slow down.
2 years ago.
Well, yeah, see, but it's not. That's not what you felt,
right?
You were like, you know what? I got this. I'm good. I'm stepping out. I'm doing my. If you'd have listened to everybody, at this point in your life, you're gonna be a young man with, grown kids.
Right.
It changes the dynamic of your life. It changes the path of your life having kids at 20 than having kids at 35.
Right.
Right. So I mean, that's one of them things. It's like if you're constantly worried about, and I'm not saying don't create a safety net for your kids, because by all means, that's the point of you as an adult, busting your behind to have, layers of success, to have layers of things, to do that for your kids. And I know, like I said, Rocky's mom and dad personally, and they've created more safety nets for Rocky. And
sometimes the safety net too big.
Yeah, it's tight, boy. That's like right on your feet. And it allows you to have that comfort in that safety, but it also, like, sometimes it can hinder people to have that safety net too tight and be like, hey man, like, let me go.
Right.
Let that umbilical cord stretch a little further.
But see, that's where it comes into play. Like he said, different households, the 2-parent household. By me having my dad, is like, he more lenient, so he's more understanding of a man, like what you got to do in your life. So that kind of helped me. Like, he could talk to her. Like, I really don't tell her a lot about it, because I take heed to her wisdom, but sometimes it's like, Ma, you don't even know nothing about my business. So what I would tell you that I'm about to do, all the plans I have to make, you don't understand it, so you just gonna speak from your perspective. But as far as my dad, he don't know as much as about my business either, but he know what it's like to be a man. So it'll be, just let him go. Let him do his thing.
Right.
You feel me? We raised him right. We did well with him. Right. I mean, look at him.
That's true. And look, I've me and my wife had this conversation all the time. I said my whole thing is I don't want to teach my kids what to think. I want to teach my kids how to think.
Yeah.
And I think your mom and dad have done a tremendous job with you in that aspect.
Oh, yeah, I commend them for that.
Even when, I remember one time I walked in Target, and again, this his mom was a part of my life every day. There's not a single day, even most weekends, we email and texting back and forth, And I walk in Rouse's and hey, Mr. J. Rocky, what you doing working at Target, man? Like, you don't even live around here, But come back to work on Monday and talk to us. Yeah, he wanted to get a job, so he said Target. And I was like, go ahead, man. Right. Like, just he's always been, a kid that had drive and always had end goals and, wanted this and wanted that. And even with the safety net, you always stepped out and did your own, and that's, man,
But the safety net allowed him to be able to step out and do his own. Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's a melting pot. You ain't gonna get the same thinking. The basket, the release from home, it's just different, But when you, once again, a 2-parent home, you have that. All right, my pops are going to work. I know my mama gonna be able to make this happen, and when she ain't, my dad's gonna be able to make this happen. For others, the like he said, he had a chance to go to his own room. Right. And a lot of people don't have a chance to go to their own room, and that allowed him to also be himself. Go in there, rap, no matter if it was bad for the first 2 years of his life, ain't nobody judging him but him, because he's in his own room until he got into that character. So, we could go all day with this. It's great. That's the American dream. You know what I'm saying? But it's not American reality either.
That's deep.
What do you mean?
What you mean?
Because
so if
I mean, it's reality.
See, there you go.
It's not everybody's reality,
right? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm just clarifying. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know, but we can't say I really don't think I kind of beat around the bush with it all the way. I kind of laid it on the table. So, just what you mean is really, I couldn't really dialect any further than the kind of example I gave. If you said what I mean, so you would have had to ask me like, well, what you mean in terms of X, Y, Z. So I could better explain your question, if it makes sense.
Well, when I said what you mean, it was to the comment that it's not reality, and that's why I clarified it's not everybody's reality.
But that's what I said.
No, I understand that, and then when you clarified that and you came back with that, that's why I'm like, okay, right. I get that. So coming from a different background, you didn't have the safety net that Rocky's saying that he had.
Well, I mean, I'm not. Coming from my background, I honestly wouldn't change anything. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying change anything, but
I'm just saying no. Right, I didn't. Right. Like I mean, I grew up with man from memory. Me, my brother Brandon. I mean, my mom probably had a 1-bedroom when we could know what was really going on. So we probably slept in the front room while my mom slept in the bedroom. Then we got another brother, went up to a 2-bedroom. So it wasn't just the aspect of it. It's just he had a avenue to be himself without no judgment. So it allowed him to grow into himself. If you come from a single parent home, you know a lot of the things are going to be lessened. Not always, but for the most part. And some of the avenues he had, we didn't have. So that's what I was saying. Like, it's nothing. We all released from the nest early. Like, we get released from that nest early because my mom's going to work, and guess who's watching us?
Financially, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So the net is going to be the net. And at the same time, my mama never let go the net because it's her, and she got 6 boys, and she don't know where we at all the time. You know, and she's not going to know what's going on at our house until she gets home, not when her husband goes home, you know. So that's when I say, I mean, certain things are reality, but it's not America's reality, you know. It's not a bad thing. It's not a knock. It's just the facts of life.
But you think that's, and I'm just trying to clarify the reality, America's reality. So you're using that as a black-white difference?
No.
Well, I'm just trying to clarify, because again, this is what we do, right? This is the whole point, right? Because I'm trying to say, is this your experience in life?
No.
Is this?
Yeah, it's definitely, I only could talk from my experience.
But it goes past that. Statistically speaking, children who come from a 2-parent household have a very high advantage with everything growing up. Like the springboard that they have towards success is exponentially larger than somebody coming from a single parent or like a divorced household.
I just think those numbers are going to drastically change in the next 5 years when you look at it.
Yeah, but we're not talking about future.
No, but what I'm saying, the statistics he's going off of is from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Mm-hmm. When
those, I mean, it's up to now. Like it is.
Rock, what's going to be the
Rock? I ain't really want us to have no.
But this is what I mean. Look, he knew what we were getting into. I mean, this is not something that. And the reason I say that,
it's supposed to be about Rocky, and we didn't already.
We gonna get back. This is about Rocky. It's about his background, what he brings differently to this platform than what we got, you know. But it's you numbers are skewed in the fact that when they're looking at single parent households, and the reason I say that is that I'm going to use us in this room right here, right? You've been married, living in the household, raising your kids, right?
But
let me finish.
All right.
Let me finish. Rocky's parents have been together for Lord knows how long, never married, right? You in the same situation. I was in the same situation for a long time. And that's what numbers don't say. So when people say that, and that's why I'm saying it's going to change, the definitions of things are going to change, because what you look at on how people perceive those numbers, that, well, this is what it means. And it's like, no, that's bullshit.
But it's not, because the thing is there's a difference with being the rule and being the exception to the rule, right?
It's a 50-50 split. There's no exception to the rule.
But it's not. Like, statistically speaking, it's not a 50-50 split. It's not. Like, I shouldn't be, according statistically, I shouldn't be where I am today. Neither should you. I mean, it just, Tori, none of us should.
Okay, so if none of us should be, and there's 5 of us in this room, statistics are fucked.
I mean,
well, right. It's only 4 of us for one, so
well, that's
definitely messing up the statistics.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like that makes, if you're gonna use that and then use us as an example, then this is a rare anomaly that you're gonna get 4 lottery winners in the room at the same time.
That's not necessarily true, because when you start talking about the human element, I mean, you have to put the whole thing together. That the old saying, "Birds of a feather flock together." People who grow up in certain ways and have certain trials and tribulations through their life, they tend to gravitate towards each other. It's humanality.
But that's a word too. That's a word too. We put, so just my opinion, my perspective of it. We put a lot into sayings. You know what I'm saying? Like, people say birds of a feather flock together. It's not always the feather. You know what I'm saying? It might be the actual comfort you get from a certain person. You know what I'm saying? Like, believe it or not, we all got people that just give us the right amount of energy from that person.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a full-time energy.
I think that's a great thing about sayings, is how you interpret them.
Right.
Bird of a feather doesn't. I don't take that as birds of the same color.
Can I finish, man?
You can, but I'm just trying to say. I mean,
that's contradicting, because they say opposites attract.
See,
but opposites, as far as, again, it's how you interpret that.
Right. So
it's the yin and the yang.
So if you cut me off, I never can make it to my point, and then we off to another person. Right. I gotta keep my boss man in line, man. He does that a lot. I know I've been gone for a while, and you probably been killing it, but I'm back. All right. I'm just playing, man. Go ahead.
Go finish your saying. He probably lost. I don't want to get off on because again, I mean, my biggest thing is, I'm tying in what he's saying, is that words. Right? Words are important. That's how these podcasts first started, right? By what words mean, and there are specific definitions on some words, and other things are made for how you interpret them.
Right. Everything is pretty much how you interpret it. Pretty much everything. Like, it got some things that just stand up straight definition. You can't get around it. Yeah. But 96% of it is how we interpret it. But
I think that's a process of evolution. Like, eventually, you were saying, like, eventually the definition gonna change for certain terms.
Yeah. But all in all, man, like that, having the parents that you had, to allow you to be yourself is a great thing. And also, not having everything's a teacher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything advances you. So I hope nobody took what I said as a knock, because it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, coming from a single parent home, you grow up real fast, and when you're around some people that have everything and you hear them complaining about this and that, you're like, hey, man, you might want to be a little more appreciative of what you got over there. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because it ain't really that easy, but your parents make it that easy to where you don't see certain things.
But see, that's what I like about my childhood, because it wasn't always that 2-parent household. You feel me? Like, for 10 years, my dad was in Chicago, and so the only part of him I saw was financially. Sometimes, not saying he didn't take care of me, but I didn't physically get that father until I made 12 or something like that. So for that whole period, it's like I was in the household with all my first cousins, sleeping on the pallets.
That's
by grandma.
Life, though.
I loved it.
Right.
Like, that's where the freedom was at an early age. Like how we say, off the porch.
Right.
We was off the porch in the streets. Like, my mom get us up 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock, we eating breakfast. By 8:30, we all outside until probably lunch. Come back in.
You eat, take a nap.
Take a nap if you're tired. Go back outside, do it all over again.
Right.
So, I feel it's a blessing for me to go through both sides. And then I know what it's like to not have a father, and know when I did hit 16, I hit that age where now I'm becoming a man, and now I do have my father in my life. It's times that I feel like you can't tell me what to do, because you wasn't here at critical times in my life. But then you fast forward and now you get older and it's like, I'm thankful for the whole situation. Like, I'm thankful for when you weren't here. I'm thankful for when you were here because that made me into the person I am today.
Correct.
You feel me?
And it made him a damn Bears fan.
A Bears fan. I don't even like
it's
talking
almost as
about
bad
that.
as being Alabama.
I don't even like talking about that with him.
What?
I didn't mean to go there. What? Too easy, man.
Let's go Pittsburgh.
LSU just lost some records.
Oh man,
So,
here we go.
hey, y'all started this.
No, I'm sitting there eating my popcorn, bro.
Right.
Normally, everybody's looking at me, talking
Right.
about me. I'm just back there.
So hey man, leave them women alone at LSU. If they don't like you,
Yeah.
leave them alone.
See, the
please.
thing with Alabama is they don't arrest you for hitting. I'm sorry. Let's get back to Robbie.
Free game.
So you mentioned your entrepreneur spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, we got going on, man.
Well, with the music, I want to build off into creating a recording studio, just to create another source of income. Because I get the streaming money, I get the YouTube money, I get the royalty money. That's one income. If I was working at a job, that'll be another income. So I'm just gonna scratch that out, straight entrepreneurship. So aside from the royalties and the music, I'm gonna use that to build off and get this recording studio. That recording studio, I can't engineer it myself because I do everything myself. So it'll take time for my creation process, but it'll still be beneficial to me because I'll be getting some income from that. So
Be producing.
yeah, producing the music, engineering. Then I also make my own beats too. So I'm not really in the game of selling it because I make my beats and I just love them. So it's not a good chance you're going to get a beat from me unless you paying. So if you paying and you want the beat, okay, you get that. So that's another source of income. And me and one of my partners actually been talking, and I just saw that did they pass the bill? Are they getting ready to pass the bill about the recreational legalizing? Yeah. Well, before I saw that, we was actually going to start the CBD business, like open up a CBD shop in Thibodeau, because a lot of people kind of shun that. But me being the kid I am, I had an experience with it. So I know the benefits from it. So I saw a quote that said, you don't sell the solution, you sell the problem. So the problem with some people is that the THC might be too high for them. So how I sell that problem is I'm going to give you something that don't have THC in it. And you still going to feel not the psychoactive effects from it, but
you get the medicinal benefits from it.
Yeah, you're going to feel that. And then my grandma, she battling cancer right now. And like,
sorry to hear that.
It's all good. But it's like I seen her lose so much weight from a lack of appetite. And when I mentioned it to them, me being so young, they don't really take you serious when you throw that in there. But I'm like, Mama, you probably need to try weed. Like, for real.
Straight up.
If not smoking it, inhaling it, a gummy or something, or the oil or whatever. And not to say that would have prevented you from losing that much weight, but you never know. It could have helped. So
it would have. They no doubt it would have.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's and this is one thing that drives me crazy with Louisiana when it comes to that aspect. I was talking about this with Cody a couple weeks ago.
What? Where I was?
We were in Colorado.
Oh, y'all was in Colorado.
No. I was in Colorado.
He was in Colorado.
And
on the mountains.
Came from
Yeah.
a horse household, 2-parent. Colorado mountains, ski resorts and stuff.
Ain't have did I?
spent more than 2 hours on work on Saturdays.
That's for the write-off. We understand. See, he almost choked on the coffee. Huh?
No, but I have a friend of mine that moved to Colorado years ago, right when the I guess the CBD and the legalization was in talks. He had family up there, and he's like, you know what? And he's an old school guy that's been smoking since before he was walking.
Willie Nelson.
But yeah, and he's like, oh, I mean, they said I can do it legally, so I'm gonna do it. And he became a grower, and he's got, more. Like you said, he knows the strength. This guy is, when you talk to him, I mean, we could probably have him on one time.
Sure, man.
Because I mean,
probably around the time they make it legal, we could bring him in.
We're 5 years away in this state to it being full recreational use. Medicinal, it's legal medicinally, but the process that you got to go through right now is insane. And on top of that, there's only one approved grower in Louisiana, and that's LSU Ag.
And everybody gonna be going to them.
It's the state.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's the state. Right. You want to talk about a monopoly? Like it drives me crazy. But because again, I look at everything in an entrepreneur, background. My eyeballs look at all that, and so I think the CBD, the hemp, that could be something that if that you could explore, and it definitely. There's one in Houma that I've been using CBD for a long time. I got joints and back problems and degenerative disc disease, and
it works.
You've been broke up for a while.
Yeah, I have been, and I was going to doctors and I was getting injections, and it was the injections would work for 3 days, and it's agonizing it's like an epidural,
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it's your fault.
There was a lot of Fridays I used to be like, man, stop crying. It ain't nothing wrong with your back. And you used to be like, T, I'm telling you.
But yeah, it's like, getting on a basic, and I don't even take anything crazy, just basic oils every night. Mm-hmm. I take a milk capsule every morning, and I tell you what, like I haven't got injections in 2 years. That's I don't go to a chiropractor. It's and everybody says, well, how? I don't know. There's no proof that says, no test I can take that says this is what happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you how I feel.
Right.
I can tell you that I don't have aches and pains when I wake up anymore. I don't, I can still, exercise and do the things. And I mean, my weight still, if I lose weight, it helps a little bit, but that hadn't changed, right? Like I was this size, still having those pains. The only thing that's changed is a small, CBD regimen. And, the science is there. The testimonials are definitely there from old and young, far and wide. Even people with terminal stuff, just for pain and comfort and appetite and things like that.
Only people scared is the ones that's trying to keep all the money.
Who trying to keep all the money?
That's another episode.
The farmers?
Big pharma.
Big pharmacies.
Yeah, definitely pharmacies have a big thing to do it, but it also it's fear. It goes back to fear. I think you have a lot of if you would get majority
money, man. You ain't nobody fearing that.
Oh, it definitely
you a lot more for some codeine than I can for.
But what I'm saying, but it still goes. It goes to the point that if I'm preaching this is big pharma, right? I'm preaching this. Well, if everybody believes what they say and fears what they say, that's why I'm saying fear, right? If you get politicians and better more, I'm going to use law enforcement as because he's here and I know he's going to give me some lip on it. But I promise you, if you get a sheriff's association or the sheriff's union of this country to stand up and say we're going to stop criminalizing something that should be legal, it'll never happen. But if that step would happen, done.
Right.
Because people are going to go, well, shit, if the cops think it's okay.
Then it's okay.
Right. And then that's going to change mindsets, and that's going to change people's fears. You know what I'm saying? It's a big, we've had a war on drugs and targeted marijuana, right? Mm-hmm. Especially from the late 70s to the early 2000s, when the war on drugs was presented, it was marijuana targeted, right? There was a marijuana cigarette, a leaf, and a little bitty bag of cocaine. That's what you've seen in almost every picture, every promotional that you had. That's what it was, right? In whatever the again, if it was Big Pharma that was pushing those campaigns and the war on drugs and that whole thing, time. But it's you. Oh, Big Pharma's been around for a long time.
I know, but at that time, the Big Pharmas was, who is the Big Pharma. But like I said, that's another episode.
I was about to say, can we talk about that?
Yeah. That's another episode.
All right.
I'm doing some research on it right now. That's
okay.
it.
So you're going to bring the facts and then...
Yeah, I have to bring facts when dealing with this guy here.
All right. That's cool.
But yeah, so I think if you change... If leadership changes their narrative, then it eases or creates fear amongst the public. That's just how it works.
Right, but when you start talking about politicians, man, it's the lobbyists that big pharma has, the
that's why I used
the politicians.
But that's why I used the Sheriff's Association, right? Because local politics, and we talked about this with Alonda when we had her on. Local politics is not red or blue. Local politics is solving the problem at hand.
It's supposed to be, right?
And it is most of the time.
Oh man,
what?
Just thinking about it, I missed that one.
It was a good one. You should have been here. We'll have her back. We'll get back in that one. But so if you go down to the local level and have these local sheriffs or mayors or the people that aren't, because sheriffs aren't in anybody's pocket on the large stage, right? It's not like a senator or a congressman that's getting lobby money. Local politicians don't get lobbying money.
Right.
They may get local business support. Right? But they don't get lobbying money. So they don't have anybody to necessarily full-time please and curtail policies around.
Right.
So if you get it on that level, again, some of these communities and some of these, I'm saying sheriffs. I'm not pinpointing out a sheriff. I'm just saying people of power in the law enforcement community, whether it's a commissioner, whether it's a sheriff's association, chief of police, whatever that is, right, in a certain area, if that can change and they stop, if they decriminalize, and I know for the most part, I know, and you're going to say this, in our area, it's not something, you get kid busted with a small bag of weed. In most cases, I don't know if they let him go or, but I don't think it's probably show up for court, here's a summons.
Oh, yeah, he
right?
going to court.
Yeah, a summons. It's not physical incarceration.
Right.
Yeah.
But he going to court.
Yeah. So it's
and
like.
It's going to cost him.
Money he don't have.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. If you stop doing that, it's been proven that just because something is made legal doesn't mean that somebody that wasn't doing it before is going to go out and do it.
Right.
It's not going to increase the drug, people doing.
It'll increase marijuana usage.
It will increase marijuana usage,
100%.
but like I said, I'm a cable guy. I done been in doctors' houses. I done been in judges' houses. I done been in police houses.
You seen that plant?
I done seen the plant. I done seen the bone. I done seen the pipe.
Right.
And it's marijuana. Trust me. And I just do my job. So just knowing that, and knowing policemen, everybody I done never seen that was picked up on misdemeanor weed charges like smoking or had a bag. Mm-hmm. Every time I done almost heard the police say, man, you need to do this at your house. So you kind of force the policeman's hands when you're in the streets with that. Right. But I'm sorry.
But even and I'll again, this is what Cody was talking about. This is where I was going with it. So even in the states that it's legal, recreational legal, it is still illegal to consume in public. Right. That's still you still can't walk around the street smoking weed.
Right.
People do it.
That sucks.
I
feel the world would be a much better place if it came to that.
To what?
To being able to use it like that. It's.
Oh, they do.
You can smoke a cigarette anywhere you go.
Oh, they do.
And that's harmful to you.
And look, so smoking anything is harmful to anybody.
But I feel with the weed, you still get a benefit out of it.
You get Indians have been smoking tobacco for hundreds of years.
What's the benefit out of smoking tobacco?
Plenty of medicinal benefits.
I never looked into it scientifically.
The reason that there's no more benefits to it now, it's because it's become processed.
Right.
It's become anytime you it's gonna be the same that happens with the weed business. I promise you.
You're right.
Once it becomes processed, right? Once they start
leave it alone.
Once they start manipulating the plant to grow more, to change the THCs, to do all the things, they're going to start over-fertilizing things. They're going to start. It's what happened with our food. It's what's happened with our water. Once you start changing the basic biology of anything, is when bad shit's going to eventually start happening.
But that's also a reason why the process of recreational marijuana is slower. I can grow a tobacco plant in my backyard. It's not going to taste like a Marlboro Light.
Correct.
Right? But that's different from marijuana. You can grow that in your backyard, and it's going to be the same as if you go to a marijuana dispensary.
That's where your dispensaries are going to argue. Because the science, technology, and equipment that they have, right? The lighting, the watering, the all the stuff that they can, because it is becoming processed, right? They change the levels of THC. They change they cross.
I get that, but
that's where.
But the base, you can still get the same benefits.
Yes, absolutely.
From growing it yourself.
Yeah, and I see where you're going, Cody. Like it really wouldn't matter. Like if you since we on TV now, I can't even say the wrong thing. Streaming, but if you F with the product, I can go take my own stuff. I don't like this. All right, it's that. Yeah, let me go in my backyard and grow my own. You know what I'm saying? That I know gonna get me to where I want to be.
But that's not covered by the insurance, right? And medically, like when this goes big, right, for it to be covered under your insurance and for it to be, because that's where that's where the growers ultimately want it to go, right? They want it to take place of Big Pharma. If I'm gonna pay for your Vicodin, why wouldn't I pay for your weed prescription, right? Prescription's a prescription, and it's still covered under your insurance regardless of what it is, right? If I got to grind it and put it in a pill, or if you got to smoke it, so that's the end goal. So to do that, to be covered, you can't get high if you own supply, right? And there is still laws about how many plants you can have and how much you can grow.
But see, that's control.
But you cross it medicinal and recreational, and weaving it together, right?
Because that's the end goal. I mean, that's what they want to happen.
You'll have medicinal. I mean, you have some places now where you can do that.
Louisiana's one of them.
But recreational, your insurance ain't covering that recreational.
You're right, but that's what I'm saying. But so for it just to be medicinal, that's why it's dragging its feet so long, because there's not enough money into it for them to actually do it.
Right, because you can go in your backyard.
You know, well, it's no, because then again, then there's no point in doing it medicinally. There's not enough people taking it medicinally.
Because it's illegal.
Because it's so hard to get.
Legally. Legally.
It's hard to get right now.
But even in California, even in all these other places.
In Louisiana.
You know, even in places that it's legal. That's why once it got passed for medicinal purposes, that's why the push to pass it recreationally became so important. Because number one, you start counterfeiting the prescriptions. They start, there's so many like it. So it is going to if you could do it for one, and oh man, I got a back pain, and you can get a script for it, and it's that easy to get a script for it, then why not just make it access to everybody? Right. So that's the point, because it's at some point it's got to weave. If not, then the whole thing was for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense across the board, it doesn't make sense for one. You have to be able to say, okay, for dollar reasons and for sense reasons. If all it takes me to do is get a splinter and go, or have a surgery, and now I can get that prescription, it just changes the end goal. So, what you looking at, G? I see your brain working.
That's all it's doing. It ain't regulating. It's just spinning right now.
I want to come back full circle.
Go.
So Rocky, you get this studio set up. Your house? You having a storefront?
Currently now, I'm recording out of my house.
Okay.
But future goal, I want to find a property to probably lease.
And we're gonna be scouting local talent.
Yeah.
Trying to harvest that
that
opportunity you wasn't given.
And see, that's another thing I can do with that as well. Technically, I am my own label.
Right.
So I can go out and find other artists.
Right.
And bring them on. Bring them under my wing, but put them in the position to not make the mistakes that I've made, because now I know the system, I know how to work it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So I'm about to shake it up a little bit. You from here, right?
Yeah, I'm from Labradorville.
All right. Give me your top 5 local rappers, if you even listen to local rappers.
All right. When we saying local, what's the radius?
From Labradorville to just in the Tri-Parish.
All right, Tri-Parish.
1200 Slim.
Where he at?
West Side.
No, out of them top 5.
That's probably.
You start at the bottom, or you?
Nah, that's number one.
All right.
See, at first I wasn't gonna put them in the order. I just was going,
Right. I told y'all about to shake this.
Yeah,
put them in order.
It out amongst yourself. But so I'm not gonna go in the order. I'm just gonna name 1200 Slim, and I'm gonna go. What's gonna if you make it or not. So I don't want them.
Nah,
feel,
we not on. It's just your
personal,
vibe,
right?
Your
however
personal
you go. Opinion.
I don't really listen to too many people.
I understand that.
1200 Slim, I'm gonna say OTM Glizzy. I want to throw Walt Sav in there. I just want them to be more consistent. My crew, I mean, they haven't been dropping anything, but I know they talent. So
right.
Them, let me see who else. What, that's 4?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
What about that guy, 3 Mil Riot? I know you heard of.
3 Mil Riot?
Heard of him.
Oh,
he's on that list, right?
Yeah, he made the list. And I'm gonna say Luke Kane.
All right.
But then I won't fit more people in there too.
I mean, but that's what that's what makes it tough, you know.
Yeah,
not trying to knock none of the guys that
Right.
didn't make the top 5, you know, and that's a lot with our culture as far as in the rap deal, you know. And it got a lot of rappers that's local that can rap, but they so fixated on I'm not rapping with this guy, or I'm not rapping with that guy, or he didn't want to be on this song with me. And just like with anything else in life, man, there's so many factors that stop people from doing certain things, you know. And like you say, you're a businessman, you're a business, and you're trying to make yourself a profitable business going future. We got to leave a lot of personal things out of it when you go into business, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these young rappers, they come off of with seeing what we saw growing up, you know, the Hot Boys and people like this, and all those groups then took licks, then fell apart, then broke apart, because at the end of the day, they was operating as a group, but still had individual deals that they wanted to do and couldn't figure it out.
Right.
And now, right now, like I could name maybe 10, 15 rappers that I think nice, you know, and
name them.
No, cause I'm different. I'm from the hood, but man, I like your music to grow. Right. You know, I understand we see drug dealing. I understand we see fast women. I understand we see disloyal men. I understand we do a lot of things to try to get the dollar. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of most of our songs, that's all it says, get the dollar. And we know you doing this to get a business. We doing this so you can fit your pockets, but a lot of it also hurts our community.
Us. Yeah.
So let me interject real quick, and this is because again I'm not in the hip hop game, and I don't know. Right, I played your song. I was writing some notes, looking some stuff up, and I was listening to some of your music, and my 9-year-old daughter comes up to me and says, "Who is that, Drake?" And I said, yeah.
"That's a clap." You're right.
And I'm like, I mean, what you know about Drake? Because I mean, if it's not on, I mean, I listen to music, but I listen to whatever comes on. Right? Like I'm not somebody that dives into any specific artist, but I do try to, you know, at least do a little research on the people that we coming in and to see, like, you know, like, I'm not saying if you're good or not, but yes, if you're good or not, right? Like if you coming in and say, man, is this dude? And I even talked to your mom about it, and I was like, man, he's good. Like when you listen to it, just coming out from somebody that is not, you know, in the music, it's catchy, it's cool, it's lyrical, it's, you know, it gets you in. My 9-year-old daughter was like, that's Drake's new song, you know, like off the bat. And I don't even like what she know about. I didn't even know what she knows about Drake, but she knew automatically that it was a relation. Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going like, so, but isn't that the basis of rap, right? Is to tell your story?
Man, I don't know.
I mean, that's what I hear. That's all I'm asking. Like,
I'm more of a fan.
I feel it's cliche to tell that narrative because it's been told so long. You feel me? So it's more about, I feel personally, it's more about your thought process. Like, are your thoughts, period. And I mean, you are what you're around. So that might be your thoughts, your everyday life and what you're rapping about. But on a larger scale, you got to look at the impact that has, what you're saying and how that can impact the people that's listening to you. So you create your music based off your demographics. So if you got 13-year-olds to 17-year-olds or 17-year-olds to 24-year-olds listening to your music, you're going to make that type of music to fit them. But
so that's kind of like that Will Smith mentality. Like he's always been more about the, you know, from what he's saying in interviews I've heard, you know, he's like, I'm not necessarily rapping to what everybody was. And I'm going back to his early stuff because, of course, he's transitioned from a hip hop guy to more just a mainstream artist. But it's what I feel. It's what my energy, what my spirit's feeling. That's where I'm at. Right. That's where I'm going with it.
Right.
I'm not about the cursing. I'm not about it. And he's always, and LL Cool J did the same thing later on in his career.
But I believe that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be spiritually. Like for me, it was a release. It was for everything I've been going through with my mom or my daddy, whatever in life. I'm just about to go in here and talk about it. So if it's spiritually, and that's what's, if you deeply rooted in it, and that's a way for you to release your spirit. A lot of the stuff that we hearing, for one, if we gonna interpret it like that, a lot of people's spirit's not right.
Right.
You feel me? So I try to make music that's gonna uplift people, and then still here and there I dibble and dabble to say some things I've experienced or what I've been through. But for the most part, I feel we're supposed to uplift our community. So that's why a lot of rappers don't make my list. Because I don't want to hear that all the time.
And and that's where I was going before I got cut off. Like, I mean, like once again, I'm from. It's all right, man. That's just what you do. I just press pause. It's all right. It's not a bad thing. It actually is starting to become like our commercial break. We do it so often. I'm just taking shots. I'm sorry. But like I was saying, I know a lot of people, and the rap that they make, if we was in certain spots, I would believe it would blow up. And me, I'd be wanting to share it, but it's not my character. And I don't want them to feel like I'm not supporting them or nothing like that, but I'm of a different age group. I can't be pressing the send bar, the share bar, this and that, and it's looked on different, you know? But as a rapper, do rappers think, well, hey man, I destroys the birds of a feather flock together deal, because I can have a homeboy that raps strictly gangster rap, but I'm gonna listen to it, but I'm not gonna share it. And people gonna say, oh well, you're not a supporter, but it's not of my character.
Right.
So if I share it, 90% of the people that I share it, we're gonna be like, oh, well, they gonna press play, they gonna hear a few words and be like, oh, I ain't no Tory, listen to that, and then they gonna go off. You're not even gonna get a like or anything. 9 times out of 10 you're gonna probably get something negative off of it, because they're gonna be like, oh well, we can't clean up the community with that type of music, so the evolving of the rap, like I like storytelling. Pretty much let me know. Yeah, if you had to sell drugs, at some point you had to stop. You know what I'm saying? What pushed you into it? I understand that. Man, you had a kid. It brought a different love to you. Stories that people could say, well, yeah, I really was going through this situation. Not the constant, I'm going out here with these $1,000 jeans on full of money.
But then when you're looking at it as a business, that's only going to make it so far. Like, the proof is in you not sharing it because of what the content is. So it's not even going nowhere there.
There you go.
So if you was to think globally, get that local mindset out your mind. Like the most important words I heard from a person in regards to music was, you got to touch 4 corners of the earth before your hometown really support you. So I'm about to try to get people in the United Kingdom and Uruguay and everywhere outside of here to listen to my music. And what that's saying is, eventually when I do get to that level, my content is good enough to where I'm not limiting myself and I'm not boxing myself in just into one community. I'm everywhere, and that's going to help me be successful.
Absolutely.
So to be a musician, you have to be a businessman at the end of the day. So,
I'd hope so. If not, you just going to be somebody else's musician.
Right. That's it. So
good words, man. Good words.
And it's education, because a lot of people don't know that. They just in it for the money, for the dollar. So you're going to rap about what you think sells.
Ray Charles said, if you think pennies, you get pennies.
You don't get pennies.
You think dollars, you make dollars.
I think dollars.
But see, with that mentality, and that's what I was getting at, if you can reach those local artists that might be falling into that same trap of thinking locally and rapping about things that Tory can't share on his timeline, and
that I can share, I just refuse,
because it's against your moral compass.
Not my moral compass, because I like that. Like I really I like listening to it, but that's it. Right. It's like marijuana. You should do it at home. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's some things you can't bring everywhere with you.
Right.
But what I'm getting at is if you can bring them along and try to make some of those hurdles a little bit easier, that's huge, man. That's huge.
Right. And that's ultimately the goal. So at this point, what I try to do is I try to give them free game. And most of the artists that I did name that I like, I mean, some of them it is gangster music or whatever, but for the most part, I hear something in them that they don't hear in themselves.
Right.
And that's what I want to try to bring out of them, because that's going to get you further than this.
Right.
So exploit that.
Yeah, I mean, but like I was saying, you can't take what's in you out of you. You
Right,
know,
keep it in you. You can keep it in you.
You can keep it in you. So I just don't want you to have a 15 track album and 14 songs gangster rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tell me how you love Granny that tried to keep you on the right track.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Tell
Is
me
that
how
one
the
you would
first,
share?
huh?
That's where I was. So like I said, if you're splitting 7, 7, 5, 10, whatever it is on your album, and 5 of them are, like you said, something that's heartful, that's deep, that's that shows other side than
right.
what you
Because
said.
I know
like,
you're not just that person.
that's
Right.
what you can
You
share.
know what I'm
That's,
saying?
but again, it's also like we talk about this from all the time is creating that diversity within yourself. Like even though you feel something, even though you're an entrepreneur, even though you're this, even though like Tori's word melting pot, you gotta blend all of that in.
Right.
And Tori says it all the time. It's the only way you make good gumbo.
Right.
Is
I just made gumbo Monday.
And I don't even eat it, man. Trust me, I don't even eat it. But I look at people make it and this and that, and then
Why
you
you
could
don't eat
overdo.
gumbo?
It's just
But you a
can't
vegan?
even. I don't even eat crawfish. I don't eat ball shrimp.
Muslim? You Hebrew?
I don't eat crab. No, I just don't have a taste for it.
We
You know
don't
what I'm
went down this road, man.
Yeah.
He's an Alabama fan. He don't eat crawfish. Do you even like king cake?
If it got cream in it,
All right.
I'm with you on that, man.
because that shit dries. I'm sorry, 'cause that dries up.
Yeah.
I was scared where he was going with them. I ain't gonna lie. I got that chance to go on.
Can you explain to me the because I'm around it through my job and I hear it. I grew up listening to Mystical. Can somebody explain mumble rap to me? I'm not getting this.
I don't even know what it is.
All right. So
Go look that up. It ain't, to me, that ain't rap music. But I mean,
it might be the way it's going.
It's a new. Yeah. Nah, it's not gonna go.
All
there.
right, please, thank you.
bro.
It's not gonna go there.
It's
I
killing-
got faith
kills
that
me.
it's not gonna go there.
So what is it?
It's just
They mumbling.
is a lack of, to me, it's a lack of intellect. You're not really smart enough to elaborate on what you're really feeling. Like you don't know the words to say.
So not
To express
fast,
yourself.
not like Busta Rhymes or nothing like that.
No,
Really
because
not
if you listen to Busta is
Cold blooded.
Oh, yeah.
And
Busta spitting.
everything he got.
Full words,
If you
and
slow
you
it
just-
down, it got
You
so
won't hear
much
it.
to it.
Right.
Yeah. But
Mumble rap.
mumble rap is just you just mumble. It's just about rhythm. It's about
Yeah.
feel. It's not about.
And then you'll get a word
lyrics.
every now and again.
Yeah, you'll get a word every now and then. But they are saying words is just meaningless.
Right.
Like, it
and they
doesn't make
carry them
sense.
out. So if I would say a word like
Is this popular?
love,
Like, is this something-
Very like
Very popular.
most of the,
Really?
all of the
Yeah.
music you hear probably is that.
Not the music I hear.
not the music
Not
you
the
hear,
music
right?
you hear. But if you were to hear something, like if you was to ride down wherever,
But I mean, like
wherever you
radio,
down here, you'll probably hear that.
Q93, like they play.
They'll play a few songs.
Yeah, a
of
few.
it.
Yeah, I don't really listen to the radio, but I'm sure they'll play something.
So I can hit mumble rap on Spotify and somebody's on some.
I don't know who's gonna come up.
Right.
But I'm saying
Right.
it's
It
a
might
genre.
be. It might be.
It's
It
not
might
just a
be a
street talk
kid
thing.
in Texas behind a tree that
Right.
just started doing his thing too.
Just
But he's a mumble rapper.
He's a mumble rapper.
You'll hear it, bro.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have the same.
Man, my thing
It
about
ain't
the
it ain't
mumble rappers
ain't the rap we
is,
listen to.
I think it's the drug culture.
Like that.
I think like they
that's
so
what it
much
is.
on downers and stuff. Like I don't even think it was supposed to happen like that.
It
I
wasn't.
think a rapper came out. He was on so many downers and he was doing it, and it sounded good to the rest of the downers behind him, and
So
then they
sort of
made it
mimic
pop.
them.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. That's what I believe it is.
That's
Because I
interesting.
mean, the drugs would do that to you.
right?
I can't get with it.
That's good though.
I'm really
That's it,
lost,
man.
man. I'm like, I'm gonna have to look this up. I mean, Tori makes me look up all this every time.
Hey,
There ain't an
hey.
episode we've done yet that Tori we talk that I don't have to go. I want to
I've
find
been.
out.
I
what
asked
this
since
is,
day
man.
one. Hey man, anything y'all need me to look up? I ain't get a report. I ain't get a homework assignment yet. So hey,
Nah, if you look up mumble rap, it might bring you to like I'm gonna say the king of that.
Young Thug.
I was gonna say Future.
Future.
I would say Future.
Future, Young Thug. I
know
don't listen to
both
much
of them,
Future,
man.
so
You listen to Thug.
I don't listen to much Thug.
What you listen
man.
to?
Jay-Z, J.
Okay.
Cole,
Okay.
Slim Santana,
Okay.
Young Donald D,
100 Slim.
Hustleaholic.
Okay.
His little nephew coming out. He pretty nice right now too. What's his name? What's his rap name on Facebook? Is it? It ain't his name though. That's what I don't be liking. So I can't really say what his name is. It ain't no bad name, but I can't remember.
Right. It is
the exact
an
same
alter
name.
ego.
Yeah. Man, I listen to Juvie growing up. I still listen to Juvie now.
Everybody listen to
You know
Juvie
what I'm
growing
saying?
Yeah.
It ain't much I don't listen to, but if I had to hit Spotify, you'd probably have Kevin Gates.
Okay.
All Jay-Z, I'm sorry, that's all I really listen to. Cole.
Okay. It's crazy you mentioned Jay-Z because that's like way before me, but I'm a student of the game, and
I just felt old like that.
I mean, you don't gotta feel
That
old.
dude just said,
man, 25.
That dude just said, because that's
25,
he said
man.
way before my time.
I mean, it is, and
It
even
is, if
Juvenile,
you
like,
25.
I done heard it, but as far as me listening to it, that's not really.
Cool.
Man.
But see, like when we was growing up, man, they had a lot of rappers, you know, and they used to just rap. But when you listen to Juvie was more of a storyteller.
Yeah, he
you know
was.
what I'm saying? So, like I say, I'm on. I need to be able to take a ride and vision what you telling me, and I can't vision pulling 100 racks out my pocket,
I
you
can't
know,
see
with
that.
a chain that's 100,000 pounds, my teeth all grilled up, and saying, "Man, look, I'm about to go drop 100 racks on some strippers."
Right, right.
What's the point of hustling all that money if I'm gonna tell you
Gonna
how
blow
to
it
just
off.
give it away?
Right. But that's why when I was mentioning Jay-Z, he became a top 5 for me. Even though I didn't listen to him, now that I'm older,
He's a goat, man.
that's what I want to hear.
There's no doubt.
That's what I
Just
want
the
to do.
evolution in the music,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
that's
And
what
he
I-
did everything.
And that's what I love. That's what I feel it's supposed to be. Evolving, like in everything everybody does, you're supposed to evolve.
His music evolved. His business ventures evolved.
Oh, yeah.
His mindset evolved. As a man, as like. I mean,
Right.
that, like, look,
That's why
again,
he the
I'm
GOAT,
not in the
right.
hip hop game or business or music, but I am in touch with culture, and especially on the business side of it.
Right.
And there's nobody better that's
Nah.
come from the hip hop game
Nah.
than Jay-Z.
And it's just because, I mean, whatever he did and whatever he's doing, at the end of the day, you can see he's trying to stop people that from all cultures from having to go the route he went.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's always, at least in my eyes, what you do. If you going out there and do something for your family and put your life on the line, it's to do and get out.
Right.
Not to do and become a terrorizer and become a public figure for doing just that.
Right.
You know, because
Right.
yes, now you are a career criminal.
Right.
Now you are more dangerous to your community than you was because you're doing more harm.
Right.
You know, and you're not giving back the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You say, all right, I done made 100,000 off of selling drugs, and I go spend 50 to feed the community. Guess what? Now I got to push 200,000 of drugs back into the community just to get my 50 back.
Right.
Blood money.
You know? Yeah, man. No, man.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, Rocky? What's your
Musically, well, I'm about to finish marketing out this project probably over the next month or so, and back to the drawing board for the next one.
So what's your ideas on potentially win another one or next project? Where you going with that?
Where I'm at in my career now, when I first started out, I was consistent. Like, I was every month, I'm putting something out just to build that catalog. But when I go back and listen to it, it's like, it was good for that time. But you can hear it was rushed. You can hear the imperfections in it. So now I'm more into create, not really the perfect song or the perfect project, because it'll never be perfect. But I'm just taking more time in the creation process and weeding out what I don't like. I might like something, but if I don't like it, I can always go back and change it if I'm not rushing it. So I usually try to give myself around, and there's no time span, but what it's been looking like is it's been around like 4 months maybe. I'll work on a project, and then at the end of that 4th month or 5th month, I'll pop back out with a single or whatever and do the process all over again.
Check out Gary V.
Gary V.
Gary V. Go to Instagram. Go to
name
YouTube.
Sound familiar?
He's an entrepreneur, but he's big into hip hop culture.
I think I heard of Gary V.
You should have heard of Gary V. If you, especially up and coming and the new age platform. He's a businessman.
He the motivational dude.
I mean, he got motivational, but that's not his. That's not his.
That's him. Yeah, he
right?
look like he's Italian or something.
He's Russian.
Close enough.
He's an immigrant from Russia. He gets his whole story. He came over as an immigrant, and
yeah, that's him.
The kid. He's a guy that grew up because of his immigrant background in low income areas, you know, but sits real well in the hip hop game as far as the advice that he gives to up and coming hip hop people. You know, I think some of the statements you just made, you need. I don't want to tell you what he says. I want you to listen to it because it's going to come. I think it'll stick a whole lot harder coming from him. You know, so take a few minutes and you know, listen to them. But any departing words, Cody?
No, thank you for coming on.
It's good to be here.
Absolutely, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. You know, hopefully you skyrocket and all your dreams come true.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
I really appreciate the fact that you're trying to grow, and you're not trying to just go by yourself. You're trying to bring the community with you. You're trying to make that path a lot easier for up and coming artists. Right. So that's huge, man.
Thank you.
Really is.
Thank you.
I'm gonna bring a little funniness to this. I'm gonna bring a little real life to this, but you know, it is what it is. One, man, Labradorville don't have enough to do, man. Go outside and exercise so you can stop having all these kids. 2, you know, keep doing what you're doing, man. You know, like just sitting here listening to you, talking to you, you know, you ain't stumble up on none of your words. You know, you was real detailed with where you want to go with your plans in life, man. And that's for a young man, a young black man, that's rare. You know, and just keep being that glow to your community. Yeah. Reach out to them little youngsters in your street, man. I know it's hard, but we need that help everywhere.
Right.
Like,
yes.
A not spoken word does us nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even as, hey, man, get off that corner.
Right.
You know, you might say, man, F you, but you know at the end of the day, you might think like, man, he young. He ain't doing what I'm doing out here to make it. You know, might not be where I want to be, but somebody's looking up to you. You know, and may God bless you with all your dreams and goals, man. That's all I got, man.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm proud of you, bro. I'm happy you're here. To say that I'm proud is an understatement.
You like the proud uncle.
Yeah, you can say that because the 30-minute, like I said, this was a last-minute thing. I know we talked a couple weeks back about getting you on, but just trying to get everything scheduled. And I was like, hey, look, we need it now, and just doing it, I was in awe. I was going back, going, man, like, your talent. I've known your drive and your ambition before these conversations. You know, from a young man to where you are now. I just learned yesterday when I was talking to your mom, you know, the South by Southwest thing. Oh, yeah. People don't realize that. Dude, that's huge.
And a lot of people don't know what that is when I tell them that.
If somebody, especially, well, I'll say, I mean, South by Southwest is one of the biggest independent platforms that you could perform at. Yeah. In the world. It's not even a local, it's in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and when she said he was at some concert in Texas, I said, Texas? I'm like, South by Southwest? Yeah, how you know about that? I'm like, how you don't know about that, T? Like,
don't know about it.
You know? But, I mean, I hope, you know, you continue to join us on these things to promote. You know, I would love for you and Tor to come with us about some community involvement stuff. I know he's big in our area.
And I'm real cool with Slim Santana, so, you know.
He know me?
Yeah, I figure he do. Yeah, trust me. I don't think he's a student of the game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nobody locally that's rapping that he doesn't know, you know what I'm saying, that he's making a lot of moves.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, I mean.
That's why that was the first one I named. Yeah. So that's his flowers,
Yeah, give him his flowers. Slim Santana, 1200.
1200 Slim.
Yeah.
Cool, man. But again, appreciate it. Hope to have you back. And remember, everybody, the divide is not so wide.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
Too easy.
Forces white and plain, not a stain. Mike's out of range, they like Dame, the whole game upside down, looking at it half full. A lot of shit cliche when you a rapper. You grinding for the Casper, I'm grinding to be Casper, but still look at that, yeah. But instead I'm in the back of it. Rest in peace to Jared, he would love to see me act up. Roll me up a fat wood to be tasting some tracks. FaceTime, baby boy, he didn't answer. Dreads running wild like a panther. Blicky on the seat for the back door. If they play with me,